Think you can handle anything your Toyota automatic throws at it? You might be making costly mistakes without even realizing it. I've worked on thousands of Toyotas over the years, and I've seen the same damaging habits destroy perfectly good transmissions again and again. These aren't just minor slip-ups either. We're talking about mistakes that can turn your reliable Toyota into an expensive paperweight sitting in your driveway. Today, we're covering the biggest mistakes Toyota owners make with their automatic transmissions. Stick around because some of these might surprise you, and I guarantee at least one will save you from a massive repair bill down the road. Your Toyota was built to last, but only if you treat it right. Miss these small details, and you could be facing transmission problems that cost more than your car is worth. Before we dive in, do me a favor and hit that like button if you drive a Toyota. It really helps the channel reach more Toyota owners who need this information. And if you know someone with a Camry, Corolla, RAV4, or any other Toyota, share this video with them or drop it in your local Toyota Facebook group. Trust me, they'll thank you later. Also, comment below and tell me what year, model, and mileage your Toyota has. I love seeing how far these machines go when they're properly cared for. It helps other viewers see what's possible with the right maintenance. Mistake number 1, running on empty. This one kills me every time I see it. Running your Toyota on empty might not seem like a big deal, but it's one of the fastest ways to shorten your fuel system's life. I get it, gas is expensive, and sometimes you're just trying to stretch that last gallon. But here's what's really happening when you're constantly riding on fumes. Your fuel pump sits inside the gas tank and depends on that fuel to stay cool and lubricated. When the tank runs low, that cooling effect disappears, and the pump starts working harder than it should. It overheats, wears out faster, and eventually fails. And that's not even the worst part. Over time, dirt and sediment settle at the bottom of the tank. When you're scraping the bottom, all that debris gets sucked into the system, clogging filters and damaging injectors. I've seen Toyota owners spend hundreds on unnecessary repairs that could have been avoided simply by keeping the tank above a quarter full. Your Camry, Corolla, or RAV4 might be tough, but even the best pump can't survive without the fuel that protects it. Mistake number 2, coasting in neutral. Some drivers think they're saving gas by coasting in neutral, especially downhill. Maybe someone told you it improves fuel economy. It doesn't, and it's actually rough on your Toyota. Modern Toyotas are smarter than you think. When you lift your foot off the gas while staying in gear, the engine control system cuts fuel flow automatically. That means you burn more fuel idling in neutral than staying in drive. But the real danger isn't about fuel, it's about control. In neutral, you lose engine braking. That forces your brake pads to do all the work, which means more wear, more heat, and less stability if you suddenly need to stop or accelerate. Even worse, constantly shifting between drive and neutral puts extra stress on your transmission. Every time you pop it back into drive while rolling, the internal clutches engage under load, creating a harsh jolt that wears them out prematurely. Toyota transmissions are designed to stay in gear while moving, not to be shifted around mid-drive. Mistake number 3, driving through deep water. You'd think this one would be obvious, but I still see it all the time. Drivers plowing their Toyotas through flooded streets or deep puddles. Unless you're in a 4Runner or Tacoma with high-mounted vents, you're taking a big risk. Your transmission has small vent tubes that let pressure equalize as it heats up. Drive through deep water, and that water can get sucked right in through those vents. Once inside, it mixes with your transmission fluid and turns it into a milky, contaminated sludge. That mixture destroys clutch materials, bearings, and seals in a matter of hours. Draining and refilling won't undo the damage. It's already baked in. I've seen transmissions start slipping the same day after getting water inside. Your Toyota is built for reliability, not deep-sea diving. Avoid flooded roads whenever possible. That shortcut through standing water might save you 5 minutes, but it could cost you thousands in repairs. Mistake number 4, leaving it in drive at long stops. Here's one that surprises a lot of people. Leaving your Toyota in drive at stoplights or long traffic jams feels harmless, but it quietly cooks your transmission from the inside out. When your car is stopped but still in drive, the torque converter keeps spinning, generating heat. On hot days, fluid temperatures can rise by 50 degrees or more in just a few minutes. That extra heat breaks down fluid faster and puts stress on seals and gaskets. If you're sitting for more than a minute or two, like in a long red light or a drive-through line, shift into neutral. It relieves pressure on the system and lets fluid circulate freely. You don't need to do it every time you stop, but giving your transmission a break during long waits can add years to its life. If you're finding this helpful so far, make sure to subscribe. I share real-world Toyota maintenance tips from years in the shop to help you avoid the same mistakes I see every day. Mistake number 5. Not warming up in cold weather. This one's especially important if you live in a cold climate. Unlike your engine, which has coolant to help it warm up quickly, your transmission relies entirely on fluid movement. In freezing weather, that fluid thickens like syrup, and it takes time for it to circulate properly. If you start your car on a cold morning and immediately drive aggressively, you're forcing thick, sluggish fluid through delicate internal passages. That creates friction, strain, and premature wear. Give your Toyota a minute or two after startup before pushing it hard. Let the transmission fluid move and warm up. It's a small act of patience that leads to smoother shifts and a much longer lifespan. Mistake number 6. Resting your hand on the shifter. This one seems harmless, but over time it does real damage. I see it constantly, drivers resting their hand on the gear shifter while cruising. That little bit of weight might not feel like much, but inside your transmission, it's pushing against the shift forks and linkages that aren't built to handle constant pressure. Over months and years, that stress wears down bushings and creates unnecessary play in the shift mechanism. Eventually, you'll notice sloppy shifting or even internal wear. Keep both hands on the wheel where they belong and only touch the shifter when you need to change gears. It's an easy habit to break, and it'll keep your Toyota shifting smoothly for years. Mistake number 7. Ignoring warning lights. This one drives me crazy because it's so easily avoidable. Your Toyota's dashboard is packed with sensors monitoring everything from fluid pressure to transmission temperature. When something goes wrong, it tries to warn you. The transmission temperature light especially is no joke. If it comes on, pull over immediately. Overheating can destroy a transmission in minutes, not hours or days. I've seen perfectly good Toyotas ruined because the owner ignored that one light for weeks. That simple warning could have saved them thousands. These lights aren't suggestions. They're urgent messages from your car's computer. Ignoring them nearly always leads to bigger problems later. Mistake number 8. Turning off the engine before shifting into park. It sounds harmless, but it's not. Some drivers turn off the engine before shifting into park, especially on older models without safety locks. When you do that, you're disconnecting the torque converter from the transmission while the car might still be moving slightly. That sudden separation creates a harsh internal shock. Over time, those impacts wear down the components that control engagement and can even crack internal parts. Always come to a complete stop, shift into park, and then turn off your engine. That's the correct order Toyota designed the system for, and following it keeps your transmission happy for years. Mistake number 9. Hard launches from a stop. This one's most common with younger drivers, or anyone who loves feeling that Toyota power. Constantly flooring it off the line might be fun, but it's brutal on your drivetrain. Hard launches stress clutch packs, CV joints, and engine mounts. Do it often enough, and you'll feel that wear in jerky shifts, vibrations, and broken mounts. Your Toyota can handle spirited driving once in a while, but if you treat every green light like a drag race, you're begging for trouble. Ease into acceleration. Save the full throttle runs for open roads or special occasions. Drive it like you want it to last. And it will. Mistake number 10. Shifting into park before a full stop. This one makes every mechanic cringe. Inside your transmission is a small metal part called the parking pawl. It's designed to lock the gears when the car is stationary, not stop a moving vehicle. When you shift into park while the car is still rolling, even at 2 or 3 miles per hour, that pawl slams into the moving gear set, trying to halt your car's momentum. Over time, that repeated impact bends or snaps it entirely. Once it breaks, your park function stops working, and you're stuck with a massive repair bill. Always come to a complete stop before shifting. That one extra second can save you thousands and keep your Toyota safely where you left it. Your Toyota's transmission was engineered to last hundreds of thousands of miles, but only if you treat it with respect. Avoiding these 10 mistakes will keep your shifts smooth, your fluid clean, and your repairs minimal. Take care of your Toyota and it'll easily return the favor. Over time, this habit will wear down or even break that parking pal, and I've seen cases where it snaps completely. When that happens, your park function stops working and you're looking at a major transmission repair. Always wait for a complete stop before shifting into park. Your transmission will last longer and you won't have to worry about your car rolling away when you thought it was safely parked. If you're finding this helpful, make sure to hit subscribe. I share real-world tips because I've seen too many Toyotas ruined by simple mistakes that could have been avoided. Your subscription helps this reach more Toyota owners who need it. Mistake number 11, neglecting transmission fluid changes. This is probably the most expensive mistake on the list. I don't care what anyone tells you about lifetime fluid, there's no such thing if you want your Toyota to last 300,000 miles or more. Fluid breaks down over time, picks up metal particles, and loses its ability to lubricate and cool the transmission properly. Fresh fluid should be bright red and have a slightly sweet smell. If yours is brown, black, or smells burnt, you're already behind. Change your Toyota's transmission fluid every 50,000 miles and don't let anyone talk you into waiting longer. It's far cheaper than a new transmission and one of the best investments you can make in long-term reliability. Mistake number 12, not using the parking brake. This ties directly into proper parking technique. That parking pole I mentioned isn't designed to hold your entire car's weight, especially on hills or inclines. When you put the car in park without setting the parking brake, you're dumping all that stress on a small internal component instead of using the braking system that was built for it. If you live in a hilly area or park on slopes regularly, this is critical. Using your parking brake takes the load off your transmission and protects the pole from unnecessary wear. It's a simple habit that adds years to your transmission's life and gives you peace of mind that your Toyota won't roll away. Mistake number 13, idling in drive for long periods. Letting your Toyota idle and drive for extended stretches, waiting to pick someone up, sitting in a long drive-through, warming the car on a cold morning won't blow it up immediately, but making this a habit creates unnecessary heat inside the transmission. When you're idling in drive, the torque converter is still working against the brakes, generating heat and stressing the fluid. If you'll be stopped for more than a minute or two, shift into neutral or park. This simple change cuts heat buildup and takes pressure off internal components. Your Toyota will run cooler and last longer with this tiny adjustment. Mistake number 14, shifting between drive and reverse while moving. This one is so easy to avoid, and it drives me nuts because I see it constantly. Do not shift from drive to reverse or reverse to drive while the car is still moving, even at a crawl in a parking lot. Your transmission needs a complete stop to disengage one gear and engage the other properly. When you shift while rolling, you force clutches to grab while they're still slipping against each other. That creates heat, accelerates wear, and eventually destroys friction materials. I've seen owners rack up thousands in repairs because they were impatient backing out of a space or pulling into a driveway. The good news, most newer Toyotas have safety logic that won't fully engage the gear until you're stopped. But if you're in an older Camry, Corolla, or other model without those protections, you must be extra careful. Come to a complete stop, feel the car settle, then shift. There's no emergency where saving half a second is worth risking your transmission. Mistake number 15, getting aggressive. When you're stuck in snow or ice. If you live anywhere that gets snow or ice, listen up. I understand the frustration when you're stuck. Your first instinct is to gun it until something gives, but that something might be your drivetrain. Spinning the wheels in drive, then slamming into reverse while they're still spinning sends shock loads through the transmission and axles. When the tires finally catch, the sudden traction can damage CV joints, transmission internals, and even engine mounts. Instead of going full throttle, use gentle rocking motions. A little gas in drive, ease off, slip into reverse, and work back and forth gradually. Keep traction aids in the car during winter. Cat litter, sand, or a small board can help your tires grip without beating up your transmission. If you drive a RAV4, Highlander, or other AWD model, use low-range or dedicated traction modes if equipped. The extra control helps you get unstuck without abusing the drivetrain. If you're serious about keeping your Toyota running strong, hit subscribe and ring the bell. I share practical, shop-tested maintenance tips every week. This isn't owner's manual fluff. This is what keeps Toyotas alive in the real world. Mistake number 16, ignoring the transmission cooler. Most Toyota owners never think about this until it's too late. If you tow with your Sienna, Highlander, or truck, or you live in a very hot climate, your vehicle may have a separate transmission cooler. It looks like a small radiator and helps keep fluid within safe temperatures. Over time, coolers get clogged with insects, road grime, and debris. Restricted airflow means higher fluid temps, faster breakdown, and eventual failure. I've seen solid transmissions fail because the cooler was so blocked that temps spiked beyond safe limits. If your Toyota has a cooler, clean it regularly with compressed air or a gentle water rinse. Check your owner's manual or look under the hood. It's usually mounted in front of the radiator or AC condenser. Keeping it clean is cheap insurance, especially if you tow or live in places like Arizona or Texas, where summer heat pushes triple digits. Mistake number 17, using the transmission to hold on hills. Using the transmission to hold the car on an incline instead of your brakes sneaks up on people. Maybe you learned it years ago, or maybe it just feels natural to feather the throttle to keep from rolling back at a light. Either way, you're putting unnecessary stress on the transmission. When you're stopped on a hill in drive, the torque converter is working against your brakes to keep the car stationary. That creates heat and wear. The transmission doesn't need. Use the brake pedal to hold the car. If it's a steep hill, don't hesitate to use the parking brake even during temporary stops. The transmission's job is to move the car, not act as a hill holder. This habit is especially hard on older Toyotas that don't have hill start assist. Newer systems help, but even then, it's better to rely on brakes rather than transmission load for holding power. Mistake number 18. Topping off fluid without fixing the leak. A lot of owners keep topping off transmission fluid and think they're solving the problem. If your fluid level keeps dropping, there's a leak, and adding more isn't a fix. Running low is obviously bad, but overfilling is just as dangerous. Too much fluid foams, which reduces its ability to lubricate and cool, and it can blow seals from excessive pressure. When checking level, make sure the engine is running, the transmission is warmed up, and the car is on level ground. The fluid should be between the min and max marks on the dipstick, or follow the specific service procedure on sealed units. If you're constantly adding fluid, get the leak diagnosed and repaired. Common leak points include the pan gasket, cooler lines, and various seals. Fixing a small seep now is far cheaper than rebuilding a transmission that failed from running low. Mistake number 19. Pouring in miracle additives. This one looks helpful but often makes things worse. Stop leak products and generic transmission restorers promise easy fixes, but most are snake oil. They can swell seals, change fluid characteristics, and mask symptoms just long enough to cause bigger problems. If there's a real issue, fix the root cause: fluid, filter, solenoids, valve body, cooler, or a proper rebuild. Not a bottle that claims to cure everything. The right fluid at the right interval beats any additive on the shelf. I've been working on Toyotas for decades, and avoiding these mistakes isn't just about saving money, it's about respecting the engineering that went into your vehicle. Your Camry, Corolla, RAV4, Prius, whatever you drive, was built to run for hundreds of thousands of miles if you treat it right. These simple habits can add years to your transmission's life and save you from those heart-stopping repair bills nobody wants. If this helped you understand your Toyota better, do me a favor. Hit subscribe. I share real-world tips every week because I've seen too many good Toyotas ruined by simple, avoidable mistakes. Your Toyota deserves better than that, and so do you.